Hi guys, I hope you're having a splendid day out there. Today we're going to look into what Google suggests to me when I'm searching for Sweden. As you know, when you're searching for something on Google, it has a nifty feature of completing your search with whatever people out there are searching for. So today we're going to find out what people are searching for when they're searching for something Sweden related. And hopefully I will be able to answer these questions, or maybe I will be as confused as people are when they're searching for Swedish stuff. I don't know. So the first sentence we're going to search for is Sweden socialist? We have a lot of different political parties in Sweden, and the major party today is called the Social Democrats. But in order for the Social Democrats to have the majority in the actual government, they've created an alliance with parties such as Vänstern, or the leftist, I suppose that would be translated into, Miljöpartiet, which is the environment party, I would assume. But there's gonna be a new election this year, so we're gonna see if that holds on. But I don't know if that answers the question at all. Though, if you are interested in Swedish politics and stuff like that, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see if I can make a video about that later on. Next question: is Sweden safe? Yes, Sweden is safe. I had a feeling that this question was going to be asked on Google because there's a lot of rumors going on that Sweden, especially certain parts of Sweden, isn't safe to live in. There's a lot of really nice YouTubers who have done videos about this, Swedish YouTubers who have actually visited these so-called unsafe areas in Sweden and proven it to be a very nice place to be in. Anyway, so you should search that up. But in the end, I suppose it all boils down to who you are and what your feeling is. In my opinion, Sweden is safe, but I suppose that somebody could tell me that they don't feel safe in Sweden. In a general perspective, I would say that Sweden is a pretty safe country to live in. Is Sweden good at soccer? I would personally say that Sweden is pretty good at football. I wouldn't say soccer, I would say football. Sweden did qualify for the World Cup and did go through to the quarterfinals this year, which is pretty good for a pretty small country. So I will answer yes to that question. Might be a little bit biased, but hey, I'm allowed to do that, or be that, yes. Is Sweden in NATO? No, Sweden is not in NATO at the moment, but there is a discussion whether we should join or not. And the final one: is Sweden expensive? It is expensive depending on where you come from and where you want to live in Sweden. If you want to live in Stockholm and buy an apartment there, yes, it's expensive. If you want to live in the countryside, it's not as expensive. But as I said, it all depends on where you come from. For example, if you ask a Norwegian if Sweden is expensive, they would probably say no, because they go across the border to buy candy and alcohol in Sweden because it's less expensive in Sweden as in Norway. So we're moving on to the next question. Are Swedes white? There's a vast difference of people with different skin colors. I don't know why that is a relevant question, but no, Swedes are many colors. Next question: are Swedes Slavic? No. Well, it depends on. Maybe you have heritage from a Slavic country and maybe your ancestors moved here. Then you're perhaps a little bit Slavic, but in general, not really. Are Swedes tall? Perhaps. There's a lot of famous tall Swedes. The Skarsgård family are pretty tall. I know Zlatan Ibrahimovic is tall, for example, but generally we're not one of the tallest countries in the world. We're relatively tall, I would suppose. Are Swedes friendly? Swedes are very friendly, but a little bit shy sometimes. So you should know that when you're trying to become friend with a Swede. I've done a video about this earlier, and if you're interested in that, you should check that video out. There's gonna be a suggestion up here somewhere. And finally, are Swedes beautiful? Just look at me. I don't know. Like, what type of question is that? Like, people are beautiful everywhere, in all countries. You are beautiful. I'm looking at you. You're beautiful. I'm beautiful. Moving on, before this goes any more awkward. Why is Sweden so rich? This is a pretty big and broad question. We have free healthcare, for example. That's people don't have to spend money on that. We pay taxes. I would actually argue that taxes is a thing that will contribute to people getting more money because they can spend time on doing less boring stuff. Like, for example, paying for college education. We're all collectively paying towards everybody's education and healthcare and so on. So that's one argument. But there's a lot of things to why Sweden is a pretty wealthy country, I would say. Why is Sweden called Sweden? Well, this is a pretty difficult question. I read recently that the old word for Sweden, or Swedes, I don't know how to pronounce that, it's gonna be written here somewhere, was first mentioned in Beowulf. And the Swedes is the land of the Sveonas, or however you pronounce that, I don't know. And that is a word that derives from another word called Sviar, and that in Proto-Norse means one or oneself. I don't know if that actually answers the questions of why it's called that, but it's more what it means. Why it's called that, I don't know. Maybe you have the answer for that. If you have the answer for that, please post that in the comments down below. Why is Sweden so good? I don't know why Sweden's so good. It's just, you know, Swedes are Swedes. I'm gonna aggravate a lot of Finns and Danes with saying that. Sweden is equally good as anyone else. Swedes don't want to say that they're too good, but in secrecy, we say that we're the best. Publicly, we are lagom. Don't kill me. And why is Sweden so cold? I suppose that the logical answer to that question is that Sweden is located pretty far north on the globe. Why is Sweden so hot? It has been very hot this summer, but normally it's not very hot in Sweden. Is that an answer to that question? I don't know. Moving on. Why does Swedes hate Danes? We don't hate Danes. I definitely do not hate Danes. I'm pretty sure that the Danes hate Sweden, but not the other way around. Why do Swedes speak English so well? I don't know if my English is that good, but I think one of the reasons to that is that we get to learn English very early in school. I got to learn English when I was about 6 years old, and it just evolved. In my opinion, a lot of people are good at English nowadays because of internets, the source of English. Why do Swedes celebrate Christmas on the 24th? Good question. I don't know. Apparently because in the old Nordic times, the day actually started when the sun set. The day that you're actually celebrating starts at the sunset on the 24th. And so we call it julafton, or Christmas Eve. And that's roughly the reason why. Moving on to the next question. Why do Swedes speak... Why... This is not good. Swedes do not speak such good English because I can't pronounce that. We're moving on to the next one. Why do Swedes take off their shoes? To me, that's a pretty logical question. Like, you don't want to bring all the filth from outside. And Sweden, as I said previously, is a pretty cold country. And most of the times there's just mud outside. It's not a hot country where it's all sunny and it's no filth outside. It's just all season here in Sweden is pretty much muddy or snowy or wet or whatever. And if you have shoes and you bring it inside, it's gonna be muddy and filthy inside, okay? Yeah, we got that clear. So please remove your shoes before going inside in Sweden. Can Swedes understand Norwegian? We do understand Norwegian, or at least most of us do. I've heard a lot of people who claim that they don't understand Norwegian. That's not how Swedes speak at all, but I would say that most Swedes understand Norwegian, especially when Norwegians don't have these weird dialects that they do have in other parts of the country, where Norwegians don't even understand the Norwegian dialect. But in general, yes, we do understand Norwegian because the languages are pretty similar. The words are pretty similar. There's just a couple of words that are a bit different, and when you have the context, you can pretty much understand what they're talking about. So the answer, yes. Can Swedes understand Danish? No. In general, no. There are Swedes who can understand Danish, but in general, no. Because even though the written Danish is understandable for Swedes, but when they're talking, it's not really understandable. Even though the words are pretty similar, they're not pronounced in the same way as Swedes would pronounce the words. So, generally, no. Can Swedes speak English? Nay. Can Swedes and Danes understand each other? I don't know really. I think that Danes understand Swedish more than Swedes understand Danish, if that's the answer to that question. And finally, can Swedes understand Icelandic? No, not a single bit. I would say that we would probably understand better the Danish language than the Icelandic language, because the Icelandic language is so much different. Even the written form is so much different from the Swedish language. Alright guys, those were Googling Swedish related questions. And hopefully you got answer to a few of them. Maybe I did answer a few of them incorrectly. If you think that I did, if you're from Sweden and think that I'm completely incorrect, please post a comment down below. If you want me to do similar things with other countries, also post that in the comment section below. I'm just trying to get you to post comments. Hey, I'm trying to just interact with you, you know, be a part of your life. I don't know. Hopefully you had a fun time here together with me, because I always have a fun time together with you. And until the next time I see you and your beautifully pretty face, I hope you have a splendid day.
Simon Macadoodle, you want freak-a-fruital. Simon Macadoodle, dibba-dibba-doo-doo-doo. Simon Macadoodle, you want freak-a-fruital. Ba-da-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba, da-da-da.